you're more committed than I am. Yeah, I had this recurring fear of when I would, in the middle of the night, wake up to go to my parents' room, and I would walk across the hall, and I imagined in my head that there was this little gnome with gnashy, like, sharp teeth, and that was chasing me, but I really was like, I'm just gonna walk because I know there's no gnome behind me, but then eventually you'd start running because it was like, what if there is the gnome is behind me? And every time I'd go to their room in the middle of the night, I always had this vision of like this, like, you know, evil gnome that was chasing me. Not exactly a monster, but in my head it was.
For me, it was the Blob. I think I was 7 or 8 years old when the Blob came out. When that man put the stick down into the Blob, I knew that was not good. But when it started to crawl up the stick, that made no sense to me at all, and that was terrifying. I was able to early on go see Wyatt work. It was fun to watch Wyatt work for me as a father, yes. But what I quickly fell into was realizing, oh, that's right, he's laying down the character, and I'm gonna be in a different era following up. So I started watching him pretty critically in terms of how he was laying this character down. That was my experience with it.
Yeah, mostly pre-production, mostly just figuring out the story and the trajectory that this character was going to go on, and then making sure that the scenes that we were in, whether it was him or I, were following that trajectory, and then you just kind of act the scene, was sort of how I approached it. Because I saw him work a couple times, not as much as you came to me, because you're more committed than I am. Clearly. But yeah, it worked.
That's a good question because, yeah, it's science fiction, and in some ways you're allowed the possibilities of some form of connecting, and it's fair to say that we have examined that pretty thoroughly, and keep your eye out.
Yeah. Don't blink. I love the idea of an older version of a person coming back and sort of revisiting that moment with a different perspective. Because the person, if you're the young person and the older version comes back, the young person doesn't have perspective on the situation.
I remember when we were talking about that stuff, the line that the old adage that kept coming into my head was, if I knew then what I know now. If I knew now what I needed to know then. Mm-hmm. That's something for he and I in terms of playing the character that we've discussed that stuff a lot.